like between 8:30 and 8:45, working on that. So, and they pretty much have been going for almost 2 hours. Wow. So yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Unity Band.
Can we find that on YouTube?
It's on our Facebook page. It's on the Facebook page. Did you start that, sweetie? Thank you. All right. Here we go. Well, good morning. Good morning. I have some wonderful news for you today. Like, which you already know, because you're feeling it here right now. Like, you know that this is just wonderfulness happening here. But right now, working through you is the same power and presence that put the galaxies into their spin. The same power and presence that's at the heart of the little acorn, inspiring it to grow into the mighty oak tree. And with the part of this power and presence, because it's about expanding the good into our lives, this is abundance. This is the power of abundance in our life. And abundance is all the good, it's all the health, all the wealth, all the deep relationships, all the going with the flow, all of the being able to manage the changes and the turmoil and the drama and be able to follow divine direction anyway. That is abundance. Having faith when we've lost our way. That faith is abundance. Living a life of purpose. All of this is abundance. So this is abundance at work in each of us right now. This power that put the galaxies into their spin. That is the power of abundance. So my talk today is about being a catalyst for good. Because being a catalyst for good is about working with the power of abundance that is at work in us right now. It's about sending that into our life and out into the world. So to actually be this catalyst, we have to let this power work, which means that we are looking at the consciousness that we carry into every situation. We look at our consciousness as we go into a room. We look at our consciousness as we climb into a car to drive in rush hour traffic. We look at the consciousness we're bringing into our relationships. We look at the consciousness that we bring into the day. And that's about being a catalyst for good, is remembering to look at the consciousness. So the premise, and this is from the book, The Rules of Abundance by Dennis Merritt Jones. And he says in the book, the premise behind being a catalyst for good. As our individual abundance consciousness rises, it affirmatively affects the whole of humankind. So when ours rises just a little, right, it affects all of mankind, humankind. When we are conscious of our oneness with an abundant universe and with each other, we are compelled to become change agents for good. This is when our generosity of spirit and our spirit of generosity merge and become a catalyst, guiding our actions, making the world a better place. So remembering our oneness with the universe, remembering that we are part of the all, that everything that we see and has ever been and ever will be, all comes from the all, that we are basically a physical expression of the all right now in this lifetime. But we have to remember that all the time to live in the abundance that is available to us at all times. The abundance is always available to us, but we have to be able to see it. We have to be able to allow it. So this is where we start really doing good, right? We're feeling it. We're doing good because we have the awareness of being one with all. So we're doing good in our lives because we can, because we want to. Not because we think we have to or because we want people to like us, right? That's not expanding the good in our lives. That's not. So we do good. We do good because what is affecting one affects the all, right? So we make one little change here and it ripples out into the world. One tiny change right there ripples out into the world. So being a catalyst for good means for us is just bringing our awareness of our oneness and the oneness of all people, not just a special person who has their own TV show, right? Not just a special person who wrote a best-selling novel, right? All of us are at one with that source of all things. So We're a catalyst when we bring our awareness of that into the way we live our life. So we're aware of it and we're living it. And we expand the good because we want to, because it's now become who we are. The problem behind being a catalyst for good, the author says, is self-perception. Too often we can't see the gift we innately are. Being a change agent for good in the world doesn't require anything but right intention and willingness to see yourself and the unique gift you bring as more than good enough, and then discerning how best to share that gift with the world. The unique gift that you have to give right here and right now is your path, your experiences, the way you've lived your life up to this point. All the good, all the sparkling, all the messiness, right? All of it is a gift that we have to share right here and now. But sometimes people can become metaphorically nearsighted. Like, I have done this. I know what it's like to be metaphorically nearsighted. When somebody's metaphorically nearsighted, they get more focused on what's missing in their life. And so then they're focused on what's missing, which means they're not connected to feeling the allness, right? They're not connected to feeling that abundance of abundance available to them. So then they focus on what's missing out here, and then they start focusing on what's missing right here. And then that triggers the feelings of, well, I'm not worthy enough. And then if we feel like we're not worthy because we're disconnected from this feeling, then we're not going to see ourselves as good enough to do the things that we want to do. So then we might look at somebody else's life and think, well, what they're doing is working. Maybe I should do what they're doing. Or we might choose a life. It's not the life we want, but it looks like, well, it would be easy enough to do this, so I don't have to worry about stepping out of my comfort zone. I don't have to worry about failing at anything, right? And that all comes from feeling all unworthy. And the unworthiness comes from feeling disconnected from our source. We just forget that we're light, walking around in a body right here and now. All of it. So your path right now, my path, all of the paths that we've been walking, they've prepared us to be right here. And they've given us all that we need, all that we could ever need to share. Right? All of our lives, the sparkling and the messy. We share that. We share that with others. I started following this comedian, Russell Brand. And at first I didn't like him so much, because I just thought he's just a famous comedian who does crazy things, right? Like tears up motel rooms and stuff like that, or hotel rooms. But I started listening to some of his podcasts, and it turns out he's actually a really, really spiritual person. And he is really, really, like, sharing a message about becoming and belonging and the power of connection in our world. And he shares how it's this loss of connectivity with the all and with each other that leads to all the problems that we suffer from. And he shares where he struggled. And so I got his book, Recovery. And he says in this book, I cannot help but love people who know the pain I feel. He says, as I listen to other people honestly share their pain, I feel my own protective walls come down. When we hear about what the struggle is that somebody else has gone through, right, it can really support us in growing forward. It can help us. We never know when what we've gone through will help somebody else. I meet people all the time who struggle the same struggle I have and I've had in the past. Right? Have you ever just thought, oh, this is my struggle, nobody else is having as much trouble as me, right? That's what I always thought. I'm special, right? I'm struggling more than anybody could possibly ever understand, right? Whoa, to me. So what's really interesting though is before I moved onto a path of service, I would meet other people who had the same struggle as me, but when we met, when we would come together, it was more about exasperating the drama. Right? Because I knew I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't. And I can remember meeting people who had the same struggle as me, and I would be like, oh, my life is great. Right? I couldn't share yet. I just couldn't share that part of myself yet. But then, when I finally felt safe to do that and learned that people love connecting. right? I know it takes courage to share something we've gone through, but then we make that deep connection. That's the gift of that sharing. So it wasn't until I was willing to become real about my own messy life that things started changing for me, that I started figuring out ways to work through things, right? So the principle in being catalyst for good, as with initiating any change, the best place to start is the mirror. The best place to start. If you want to change the world for the better, begin by changing yourself for the better. In the process, you'll not only discover your purpose, you'll uncover the gift you are, and you'll also see that the ripple effect of you truly matters to the world. So what I discovered is that as we're in the process of aligning with abundance, we are working on ourselves, right? We are doing the work when we're reminding ourselves all the time, okay, I'm part of the all, right? I'm part of the all. The all is everything that's ever been and everything yet to be. I can't step out of that because it's everywhere, right? There's nowhere for me to go. I'm actually still always part of the all. So we are getting to know ourselves better in this process of aligning because we have to do the work. We have to pay attention to the choices that we're making every day. When we commit to doing this work, when we commit to remembering that we are also an emanation of the source, we pay attention to why we just did things in our lives. We pay attention to, am I reacting or am I responding to life? Okay, we pay attention to how we're showing up. And that opens up a new world of understanding to us. I remember when I first really discovered where I was giving my power away, right? I went from most of my life thinking, this thing took my power away, now I'm gonna suffer because of it. But now I actually will notice. I will notice, what? I just gave my power away to this thing. And for a while, it was kind of nice to blame something outside of myself. Like, what a relief. I don't have to do anything right now, I can just complain. But then I look at that and I'm like, you know what? That doesn't have any power over me. Oh, I have to do the work. But we notice that, and I notice that about myself now, that I'm quicker to pick up on it. That's what happens when we do the work. We learn a lot about ourselves. We know right away when we're making choices out of fear and out of limitation. We know right away. It feels terrible. We were not designed to live in fear and limitation. That's not part of our design. Our design is creation, expanding the good, bringing more fun experiences into our life, stepping out of our comfort zone. That's what we were designed to do. Now, we always know when we're choosing from limitation because of how bad it feels. If we're feeling bad like that, we're choosing from limitation, we're not going to feel our self-worth. So we're not going to make the choices that honor our divine self. So this is why we start with ourselves. This is why we start with what's in the mirror. And our experiences and also all of the things that we are truly passionate about, that's our purpose here. That is our purpose right now. What we love, all of our experiences, those become the light that changes us. Okay, when we pour energy into those things, that becomes our path. Our path and our passion becomes the light that changes us, right? Because we let it work through us. So now the practice of being a catalyst for good. Just as you can't give what you don't have, you cannot expect others to give, be, or do something you are not willing to give, be, or do. Thinking the right thing is good, saying the right thing is appropriate, but doing the right thing is what defines you. So somewhere I heard this quote, but we can have awareness about something, but if we don't act on it, we're hallucinating. And I was thinking about that. Prior to 2019, I knew that I wanted to change my eating habits. I knew I wanted to move more into well-being. I had awareness of it, but I wasn't acting on it. I was basically hallucinating myself into, and nothing was happening. Like, I even tried just eating a really healthy breakfast and then doing whatever I wanted the rest of the day, right? Moving into this new consciousness, doing this good thing for ourselves, expanding the good is actually a full-time job. So we are taking what we've learned, reminding ourselves how we are part of the all, and that we are expressing that good through our lives, through our choices. That's not a part-time job. Being a catalyst for good is not a part-time job. Think about this, right? Like I already mentioned healthy living. We know one healthy meal a day is not going to do it for us. Especially if we balance it out with, pizza, ice cream, Junior Mints. How about the practice of forgiveness, right? The practice of forgiveness is a ridiculously powerful way to experience a change, right? I mean, it is a radical way to heal. But would you make a list of like the top 15 things, situations, events, and people who you needed to forgive? Would you make a list of all that and then pick the third one and the fifth one? That's enough. That was a lot of work. Besides, I want to just be angry at everything else. I want to still keep planning my revenge, right? I'm not ready to take my manifesto off the wall. Okay? So that's not actually a practice of forgiveness. So it's a full-time job. Now this can be a reason why people don't want to answer the call to be a catalyst for good, because it's a full-time job. And where it is sending us to a level of like empowerment that we can never imagine, because of the amount of time we're showing up, right? Because of the amount of time we spend looking at how we are going into every situation, it is a radical shift for us. But it can be a lot when you start thinking about it. Like, well, I don't know, that might be too much. There's a reason, another reason that people don't answer the call is they don't know where to start, right? But Emerson said this, Ralph Waldo Emerson: success is to laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know even one life, just one life, has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded. Now, when we don't know where to start to be a catalyst for good, just do one of those things. That's all we have to do. We can just do one of those things with love. I used to think that I had to become better to do something that I loved. And then I heard this quote. It is, God doesn't call the qualified. God qualifies the called. God qualifies the called. So many people don't get started on doing good, being a catalyst for good, because they think, this thing I love that I've dreamed of doing, that's in my heart, there are other people doing that same thing and they're doing it better than me. Who am I to think? Who am I to think I could go out there and do this thing? But we think about it, if there's something in our heart already that we want to do and we dream of it and we feel wonderful when we think about it, and it's ours, it's our authentic dream. It's not something someone else put in there. Where did that come from? It came from a divine inspiration. It was planted in there. If we're obsessed with creating some kind of a beauty in our life, there's a reason we're obsessed with it. And we will gain the experience along the way. I used to feel this way about myself. Like, who am I to go out there and sing a song or give a talk or teach a class? And I heard this quote, and I was like, whoa, maybe just what I need is experience. Like, just more practice at it. It doesn't, because we haven't had to practice at something, doesn't mean we shouldn't be doing it. Right? We just start practicing it. All right, so God does not call the qualified. Sometimes people don't start on the path for being a catalyst for good because they feel like they have to do something amazing. Okay? It's like, well, if I could cure a disease, if I could become an entrepreneur, if I could be a YouTube sensation, then I will be a catalyst for good. And I can actually understand that whole thing, right? Well, when you hear catalyst for good, you think, catalyst is a big word. And when I think of catalyst for good, I think of Martin Luther King Jr. I think of Gandhi, right? So you think of those like people that have been in our history books, right? But here's the definition of catalyst. Something or someone that causes increased bonding activity between two or more forces for the purpose of creating something new, something that didn't previously exist. Now, when you are sharing who you are authentically, in that moment, you are a love amplifier and a grace generator. You're a love amplifier, which means that the power that created the universe, the power that put the galaxies into their spin, that love, I'm talking big cosmic love, big C, big L. Okay, that big cosmic love, its urge is to expand more good through you, for you, as you. That's its urge. It's there, available. Okay, it's right there. Then being a grace generator. Grace is any quality of spirit that you need in this moment. So any quality of that big love, whether it's compassion, patience, fortitude, whatever you need right in that moment, grace gives that to you. That is the gift of grace. It's what you need right now. Okay, so imagine that you're just being real, and then you're just holding a space for other people, and you're just seeing their light. And you honor their pain. Maybe there's somebody who's in an extraordinary amount of pain. You honor their pain, but you know it's not who they are. You see their light. You see that there is still that within them at all times that knows what to do, how to do it. And it compels them to act on what it knows. Divine direction is always available through them. And maybe in that moment, just being that field of the grace generator and the love amplifier, in that moment, you hold the space, or for a second, they're willing to listen to an inspiration that's maybe been knocking on their door for a month. But in that moment, just seeing their light, you have just been of service, just by shining your light. You've just done something really powerful for someone, and you probably won't even know you did. You won't know. So you're expanding the good through you as a catalyst for good. Someone else receives it. Okay, now there are two or more forces creating something new that didn't previously exist. You're a catalyst for good. I think about the catalysts I've had in my own life, and all of us have had so many. But I think about the gentle, quiet catalyst for good. My midwife. I met her when I was pregnant with my firstborn, and she wasn't like Anthony Robbins, like on a stage, you should have a baby at home. She wasn't that. She was loving, quiet. She had a gentle, like mothering energy, right? I wouldn't say, oh, she's a catalyst for God. I mean, you wouldn't just say that out loud about her, but she was, because she was living that experience. She was living that. And she saw me as being designed to have babies at home, right? That I was totally capable of doing it. And she and her midwife team were there for me. And they had a plan for every contingency, right? And she held the space for me, right? My very first chiropractor, I was 19 years old. I still remember him, Dr. Cirillo, at the end of Sterling Avenue in San Bernardino. I hurt my back, never been to a chiropractor. I was afraid. I walk in. He holds a space for me. He's like, well, we're just going to put this all back. Your nerves, they're excited to function well together. Your bones, they don't want to be out of alignment. They're ready for this adjustment. And from that moment, I fell in love with chiropractic. I also met a doctor, and this is like 20 years ago, right? It was like 92. That's like almost 30 years ago. I went and saw her because I was dealing with TMJ. 30 years, Mom? That's like crazy. I was dealing with TMJ issues, and she was teaching me biofeedback. And so I don't even remember her name, except her first name was Sally. I remember that. But she was like embodied this mom science energy, like science mom energy. And she talked to me about the mind-body connection. And she recommended a couple of books. Deepak Chopra, Quantum Healing. I read it, didn't get it at all. Right? Joan Boris-Cinco, Mind is Healer, Mind is Slayer. Beautiful book. I understood Joan. I understood her really easy. But that was like the clencher in my decision to become a healer, was spending that hour, and I think I had 3 appointments with her, 3 little hours with somebody who's just a gentle, loving, supportive energy. Those are the catalysts. Those are the catalysts in our lives. They're the people that we run into and spend a few minutes with. So our most powerful tool is how we show up. our consciousness, the consciousness that we bring right here and now, our attitude as we show up, being responsible for our own life, paying attention. How am I thinking? Do I need to change my thinking? Do I feel really crappy right now? Well, then I'm not in alignment with my divine nature, so I'm going to change my thinking. That's our power right there, is to be able to change that thinking. If we could affirm our way into new life, we would have done it already. I tried it. If we could mantra our way into new life, we would have done it already. If we could visualize our way into new life, or vision board our way into new life, we would have done it already. Now, all of those things, they are really, really powerful tools because they help us get focus on what it is we want to create. Because we want to create interest in something that we actually want to have in our life. Because we have interest in things all over the place. We're engaged with all kinds of things, right? All the latest contagious diseases or like whatever happening. And we can get interested, which just means we're pouring a lot of energy into it. And so the affirmations and the vision boards and the visualization and the mantras, those give us a focus so we're paying attention to what we want to create in our life. But see, we're also like an archer, all right? And the target, that's our vision for what we want to create in our life. But the archer does several things before they walk up and stand in front of that target. They pick up a bow and arrow, they look at the target, and then they do that thing and let go of the arrow, and it hits the target. That's what being a catalyst for good is. It's to pick up the bow and arrow, and we're hitting our target. We spend more time focusing on our target than on the things out here that we don't want to see created in our life. So the payoff, being a catalyst for good in the world, connects you directly to the secret of creating an abundant life, which is your oneness with the universe. When you are guided intuitively to do the right thing, the world benefits greatly just from you being alive. Just from you being alive. In turn, you benefit greatly from being alive. So being of service is to give a gift that we also benefit from. That's how we know it's service. We give a gift and we also benefit from it. That's how we know, right? We're being a catalyst for good. We are showing up. We are showing up as that catalyst, right? Did we ask ourselves, how am I going to step into this right now? How am I going to move into this situation right now? I hear you. How am I going to step in this, right? What is the consciousness I'm going to carry with me, climbing into my car, going to my job, being in relationship? What is the consciousness I'm going to bring? Now, because when we ask that question, we have just unleashed the power of love, big cosmic love into our life. That power that creates the universes, that power that puts the galaxies into their spin, that creates worlds. That's going through us too. Through our inspiration, our ideas, our choices, our new activities, right? New choices made in alignment with our divine self bring new opportunities, open more doors, more exciting things to discover. So we release that love, we unleash that love, and we remember love is bigger than anything in its way. And that's how we're creating heaven on earth. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are the heart and hands of spirit in this world. You were designed to do all of this stuff. There's not one thing ever said here that you can't do, because you were designed to do it all. It's all in your divine program. Wherever you feel that divine program in yourself, it's there. Expanding the good, it's there. And everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, let's have a quick meditation and just kind of let that sink in, okay? Before we get our next song. All right, so I'm just going to invite you to just breathe it in. If you want to close your eyes and just put your attention right in the center of your chest. This is your heart center. And just imagine this beautiful golden ball of light. And imagine that it shines a golden ray down into the center of the planet, where it meets with the beautiful, nurturing energies of planet Earth. Mother Earth, the very first energy that greeted you on the day you were born. And as your golden light mixes with the emerald green light of Mother Earth, they shine together back up through the planet, through your feet, into your body, and into your heart center. And now you feel your heart center expanding. It'll completely surround you. Feel it expand so it's even bigger than this room, even bigger than this building, even bigger than the planet. So you can find yourself floating in space, looking at this beautiful blue marble we call home. And in that brilliant imagination of yours, silently affirm with me, I am a catalyst for good. I am. It is well within my divine design to expand the good in my life. There is that within me. It always knows what to do, how to do it, and it compels me through inspiration to act on what it knows. And I allow that inspiration, and I act on that inspiration, and I expand the good in my life here and now. I hold the loving space for others. I see the light that they are. And I remind myself of that all throughout the day, no matter my activity. I am the light, you are the light, and they are the light. That each of us here, we are grace generators, love amplifiers, designed to share more good, designed to expand the good. This beautiful abundance that is always available, I share that through me. I send it out before me, and it paves my day with loving kindness. It opens all the gates and all the doors, inviting new experiences and new opportunities to expand even more good. And so it is. So it is. I now invite you back into your body. And the band's just going to play another song for us. So just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers.